It's been a while since I brought a mini PC to the channel, and this time I went for something really mini. It's actually up to 3 times smaller than other PCs I've tested here. Even so, it comes with an aluminum case that can withstand 200 kilos of pressure and features an AMD Ryzen 9 processor. Both the RAM and storage are expandable, and on top of that it has pretty strong AI capabilities, considering its small size. And if size really does matter to you and you want a lot of power without taking up too much space, check out this Geekom A8, which is only 38 millimeters thick, and you'll see it running video editing programs and even AAA games. You'll see this at the end of the video, but for now you're already watching the unboxing. As you can see, the power supply is quite small and has a matte finish, not a glossy black that easily shows fingerprints. Also, the cable is pretty short, but it's the thick kind that lasts a lifetime. Here you have the screws to attach the mount, for example, to a monitor or a TV. It's so small and thin that, honestly, it would look really good in these setups. And now here you have the Geekom A8 in all its glory. The design is all aluminum. It feels really sturdy. Like I said, it's capable of withstanding up to 200 kilos of pressure and weighs less than half a kilo. It looks high quality and also has that industrial look that would fit well on any surface. And something else I liked on the bottom are these rubber pads that make it stick well to any surface. It also has those nuts, as you can see, which are for connecting the VESA mount. This is to put it behind a monitor, like I mentioned. And here in the multimedia section, I think that's where it really stands out. But let's move on to the ports of this Geekom A8. On the front, there are 2 USB 3.2 Gen 2 ports. It also has a 3.5 millimeter headphone jack and a power button with a white LED. You can already see well on the other side. And at the back, through those black vents, that's where the air from the fan comes out. It doesn't just have active cooling, but also passive cooling. And as for the ports, there's a power supply input, a USB 4.0 Gen 3, an HDMI 2.0, a 2.5 Gbps Ethernet port, a USB 3.2 Gen 2, and another 2.0. There would also be another USB 3.2 Gen 2 and another HDMI 2.0. Also, on the other side, and this is something you don't usually see in mini PCs, there's a full-size card reader, in this case for SD cards. This is especially for those of you who are going to edit photos or videos, which it actually does quite well, I can tell you that already. Honestly, it's a port that's nice to have on a mini PC. But above all, in the time I've been using it, what I like the most is its form factor. It's very, very small, absolutely portable. And here, take a look, because I'm going to compare it with a smartphone, in this case an iPhone. I think this way, you'll get a better idea of its size. Of this Geekom A8, in this comparison, as you can see, it's really small, but at the same time surprisingly powerful. And that's what I'm going to show you now. I've connected it via USB Type-C to a 28-inch 4K monitor, which is the one you're about to see. Also, as you can see, compared to the mouse, it looks really small. But first, I'm going to start with what I didn't like about this Geekom A8. And you could say it's the Wi-Fi connectivity. It doesn't have Wi-Fi 7, but rather Wi-Fi 6. And above all, I've noticed that if you don't have the router, let's say in the same room as this mini PC or in the room next door, you won't get a strong signal. Therefore, you should keep this point in mind if it's important to you. And regarding its hardware, regarding its power, I'm going to show you a chart. It features an AMD Ryzen 9 8945HS, as well as integrated AMD 780M graphics. And this particular model has 16 GB of RAM, expandable up to 64 GB of DDR5, and it also comes with 1 terabyte of SSD storage, expandable up to 2 terabytes. It also comes with Windows 11 Pro pre-installed. It also comes with Bluetooth 5.2, by the way. And as you can see, it's an absolute powerhouse for handling multimedia, despite its size. You can run 4 displays at resolutions up to 8K. Therefore, if you want to use it behind a TV as a media center, this mini PC will be more than enough for you. Be careful though. If you use it for video editors like Adobe Premiere or photo editing, you'll have more than enough power with acceptable noise levels. Where it struggles more is in gaming, as you'll see next, but for video or photo editing, the processor and even the integrated graphics in this Geekom A8 are more than enough. But let's get to the strong point of this Geekom, because I love pushing mini PCs to the limit to see what their ceiling is. So let's see what the ceiling is for this Geekom A8. And here, I'm going to test it with a couple of games. One is much less demanding, and the other was a AAA title not many years ago, Shadow of the Tomb Raider. And here I'm going to test the first game, which isn't very demanding, but I'm going to run it on ultra settings on this screen at 4K native 4K resolution. And as you can see, it's not the fastest game. It doesn't run extremely fast, but it's not bad, especially considering that it's running on a monitor with a very high resolution. Everything is set to ultra. But the most interesting thing, and what I wanted to achieve, is that I have pushed this Geekom A8 to its maximum potential, meaning right now the fan is running at full speed. And this would be the noise from this mini PC, so you can get an idea of how it sounds at its highest level. And at this point, I'm going to turn off the game sound so you can hear it better. These would be the scores, as well as the thermal performance of this Geekom A8. In terms of heat levels, let's say it's about average for mini PCs. Both passive and active cooling help. And I should also say that for everyday tasks like browsing the internet, watching movies, and so on, the fan is barely audible or sometimes even completely stopped. But anyway, let's try it with a much more demanding game, Shadow of the Tomb Raider, like I mentioned. And here I'm going to go all out. Once again, native 4K resolution, everything on Ultra. Notice that the mini PC isn't catching fire, so that's a good sign that it has good thermals. But as you can see, the game is, as was obvious and expected, unplayable. This mini PC isn't meant for playing everything on Ultra. I'll cover a much higher end mini PC in another video soon. As you know, now you should lower the resolution to HD. I'll set everything to low, though medium would work well too. As you'll see, although you already know, with this type of mini PCs with such basic graphics, it's important to lower the resolution so the game runs satisfactorily well. And that's exactly what happens in Shadow of the Tomb Raider. You see, now everything runs very smoothly, and at this point you'll be able to play without any problems. Once again, I'm going to leave you some screenshots so you can see how its graphics card performs, and I'll also show you the scores with some of the more well-known games so you can see how it performs, not just in the 2 games I've shown you, but also in others. Even so, as you already know, I mainly recommend this mini PC for video editing, photo editing, multimedia consumption, or watching movies and other media, and even for playing games that aren't too demanding and at a somewhat lower resolution. So, how much does this Geekom A8 cost? Well, it used to cost 949 euros, and now it costs 759. And with a coupon, you get an extra discount. I'll leave the purchase link below in the video description. If what you're looking for is something extremely portable, but still powerful and quiet enough for everyday tasks, this Geekom A8 could be an alternative you should consider. Also, if you're an occasional gamer and don't need to play everything on ultra settings, as you've seen, by lowering the settings appropriately, you can manage to play at pretty respectable frame rates. Taking into account, I insist, the kind of device this is, its size and all the hardware it has inside. If I had to choose something, it would be that it weighs 450 grams and is 38 millimeters thick. It's amazing what they've managed to do in something so small. Also, its durability, the multiple connections, which is really appreciated because it's very versatile. Most of all, I was impressed by how well it handles photo and video editing without hitting any limits. If you want a more powerful mini PC that can run games on ultra settings, keep an eye on what's coming to this channel. Anyway, if you have any questions, leave them below in the comments. Subscribe so this channel, Test to Do, can keep bringing you the best mini PCs. Share this video, give it a like, and I'll see you in the next one. Greetings, and see you soon.